All right, here we go on a Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. We've made it to a new month. Didn't have a podcast yesterday as we were at Packers training camp. We'll get into a few things about that in just a little bit. A very interesting story about a former quarterback for the Green Bay Packers that I want to get to. Just some observations, things I overheard at camp. And I want to speak to that. Let's get our normal talk out of the way here first before we get into some bad news to start things out. If you want to follow along, you can do that on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it Twitter for a long time. It's at Wisconsin_fam, at Wisconsin_FAM. TikTok, you can search for us, Wisconsin_family. And then where the program is housed, it is YouTube, youtube.com/@WisconsinFamily1, youtube.com/@WisconsinFamily1. We may get to a few of your tweets, a few of your comments off of TikTok a little bit later on. Wait, if it's not Twitter anymore, what do you call it when you send it? If it's X, is it still a tweet? I don't know. Write in, let me know. A terrible, pitiful, lousy road trip for the Milwaukee Brewers came to mercifully an end this afternoon, though it wasn't so merciful because it was a terrible loss today. Brewers lose in the bottom of the ninth inning. Devin Williams comes in to close it out. Threw a ton of pitches, didn't have help from his defense. Brewers had a 2-1 lead, and they end up losing 3-2. Terrible road trip. I was hoping to maybe win 2 out of 3 games against the Braves. Sweep, that's, unrealistic. But trying to be optimistic, I said, okay, they lost 2 out of 3 last weekend at home to Atlanta. Maybe they can win 2 out of 3 on the road. Make a couple of moves at the trade deadline. Maybe we'll show that pays off right away. Nope, you got swept by them. However, Fine. The Braves are one of the best teams in baseball. We know, and we've known through the entire season, that the Brewers are not that, unless they get on a really hot streak. Of course, their pitching is good enough to be one of the best teams in baseball. Be that as it may, the Braves are one of the best teams. So fine, you get swept at Atlanta. It's not good, but I can see it happening. And then you go and you lose 2 out of 3 to the lowly Washington Nationals, who are 46-63. The Brewers should have swept that series, folks. Instead, they lost 2 out of 3. And this after you brought in the big bats. Speaking of the big bats, the newcomers, if you will, Carlos Santana today, 0 for 4. He's like 2 for 21 since he joined the Brewers. Mark Canha, 0 for 3 today. Willy Adames was 0 for 4. He looks completely lost at the plate. Sal Frelick he didn't play today. He pinch hit, 0 for 1. He's like 0 for his last 16 now. What happens to major league hitters when they walk through the Brewers clubhouse? These guys in the middle of the order still sinking this Brewer lineup. Now, I mean, things can change, and you hope that some of the veteran presence that you brought in with guys like Canha and Santana, you hope that comes through. The Brewers at one point in this game had runners in scoring position for Contreras, Santana, and Adames with nobody out, and they all struck out. All 3 of them. Pitiful loss. And then the defense, which obviously has been a strong suit along with the pitching, the defense blew it at the end. Monasterio had a terrible throw home on an opportunity for a 5-2-3 double play. Instead, he threw it over Contreras. And that was it. Game ended there. Brewers just aren't there. I mean, their pitching is prime. You can deal with that. You can make the playoffs with that. You can make a run through the playoffs, maybe even to the World Series with the pitching that the Brewers have. You go out and you make a couple of moves. Bring in, what's his name? Andrew Chafin from the Diamondbacks. By the way, he looks like everyone has that one uncle growing up that you see at family reunions. Kind of the odd duck. Maybe that'll be me someday. But Andrew Chafin looks like that one guy that uncle that everyone has. Anyway, Brewer pitching is good enough to make the playoffs. It's good enough to even go on a run towards the World Series between the starters and the bullpen. Man, the Brewers just can't get over this hump offensively. Oh, they can have a couple of nice games, a little stretch here for maybe 4 or 5 games in a row, but they always just come back down to it. I mean, at what point is Adames going to start hitting? Let me look up his numbers right now. What is Willy Adames at? Again, he was 0 for 4 again today. He's got 16 home runs. I want to see what his batting average and on-base percentage is. Willy Adames this year. 207 average. Where is his on-base percentage? He's got 109 strikeouts. Said 207 batting average. On-base percentage, 291. Not good. And this is the guy that you had batting cleanup for you here today. Yep, he was batting cleanup. I mean, it's getting into Jesse Winker territory, to be honest with you. Not quite as bad because he's got the power, the 16 homers. On the rare occasion that he does connect with the ball, he generally hits it for a home run, I guess. Christian Yelich had another big hit today. MVP, MVP, MVP. He continues along. But boy, the rest of that offense, it's just not... Despite the moves that they made... Now, okay, we'll give Mark Canha and Carlos Santana some time. Don't want to be too hasty in our judgments here. We'll give them time. But something has to give with this Brewer offense, or they will not make the playoffs. That was the whole point. We're looking throughout the entire first half of the season. We see the pitchings there. The bullpen, Devin Williams, everyone else in the bullpen, Payamps, Peguero, the great starting pitching. Got some good news on Brandon Woodruff coming up here in a second. You just said, okay, we're a couple hitters away. They went out and they got a couple of hitters who, frankly, haven't really been hitting that much this year. I mean, your guys that you're bringing in here, let me back out of the Willy Adames information here and see how these guys are hitting. Carlos Santana, not the singer. Carlos Santana, 2023, 231 batting average. 13 home runs. I mean, a little better than Rowdy Tellez, but it's not a major upgrade. How about Mark Canha? What are his stats, 2023, that we have brought in to bolster the Brewer offense? 242 average, 6 home runs. On-base percentage, 343. Well, it's better. I don't know how much of a difference they're going to make. It's more of a veteran presence. But did the Brewers really upgrade their offense? I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. But at this point, through a couple of games, more than a couple of games for Santana, the offense and the results so far have shown no. Brewers are returning home now. Series against the Pirates, series against the Rockies. They need to rack up a bunch of wins in this series. Hey, don't look now. The Cubs are only 4 games behind. Hey, how about they beat the Reds yesterday? Clobbered the Reds 20-9. At least the Reds still put up runs, but the Reds are the polar opposite of the Brewers. The Brewers have the pitching, no hitting. Reds obviously have struggled all year with the pitching. Then give up 20 yesterday, but hell, they still hit. They had 9 runs. They didn't do much at the trade deadline. I'd be rather upset if I was a Reds fan, especially with that offense that you had. And there were some guys out there on the trade market, Max Scherzer. Some of these guys that got traded. At any rate, let us move on to football. Just where we want to be. Green Bay Packers. Hey, first I gotta say is we went to Packer training camp yesterday. Packed up. Went with the 2 of the kids and Grandma, my mother, and went and hung out at Lambeau Field. It was a beautiful day for that. Sun shining, nice morning, warm, as all days at Packer training camp should be. And we kind of parked ourselves over where the players come out. That new addition to Lambeau Field, which looks nice. If you haven't been there yet. I believe that's where all the new coaching offices and everything like that is. At any rate, parked ourselves over there, and we were waiting for the players to come out. Got to see Jordan Love, Jair Alexander. Missed some of the big guys. Saw a lot of guys taking cars over. But we were parked right over where the guys get on the kids' bikes. So, kids enjoyed watching them come by. And then we made our way over to practice. We had a good seat. Well, we were sitting. We knew we weren't going to get anywhere in the new stands that they built. We knew we were going to sit on the bleachers at the end, but we saw the quarterbacks work for a long time in front of us. Seemed like a lot of drop passes from the receivers yesterday. Maybe that's just me. I follow most of the practices on social media, so I don't see every drop or hear about every drop. It just seemed like a lot of drop passes. Thought Love looked pretty good. Romeo Doubs had a beautiful catch. You've probably seen it if you're on Twitter. I don't know if it made its way around on TikTok yet, but he made a beautiful catch over Jair Alexander in the one-on-one drills. So that was good to see. Devontae Wyatt was blowing people up yesterday in the one-on-ones. A lot of people looking at him and saying he's taking a big step for year 2. Hopefully that translates into the regular season. I found it interesting. So a lot of times on Twitter, if you follow me, I get raked over the coals by the Aaron Rodgers cult members, as we call them. I just hate Aaron Rodgers. Well, and first off, I don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't particularly like him. People are always like, well, just admit it, you don't like him. I don't. Not my favorite human being in the world. Not my favorite human, as Rodgers says. Good human. He's not my favorite human. Whatever, everyone has their own cup of tea. But on Twitter, a lot of times, people will make it seem like those who dislike Rodgers are in such a minority that it doesn't even pay to speak about him. Because nobody agrees with you. Nobody likes you when you don't like Aaron Rodgers. Oh, yeah? I sat in 2 different places yesterday at training camp. One was on the bleachers for about the first 3/4 of practice. And I overheard 2 people sitting behind me. I don't even think they knew each other. And they were talking about Aaron Rodgers. They were talking about how they never liked Aaron Rodgers since day one. And then they talked about everything that transpired over the last couple of years. Not one bad word was said about Brian Gutekunst. They did not like Aaron Rodgers. They had a lot of bad stuff to say about him. Now, I minded my own business. I didn't jump in, though most of you think I would. I didn't. I just sat there and listened. About 3/4 of the way through practice, the bleachers that they have on the east side of the field, started to clear out. So I went in to go sit there, get a better look. What do you think I heard? Now, I'm not trying to eavesdrop here, but people are talking rather loud right next to me. More people talking about Aaron Rodgers. People talking about how he is, how the Jets are bending over backwards and treating him, and how it's not going to be a good thing if boy, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, if things start going poorly, you can throw all that peace and love stuff that Rodgers preaches out the window. I mean, he says that, but he doesn't apply it to himself. Peace and love, peace and love. Yeah, peace and love when people are coming after you. But if your rookie receiver runs the wrong route, there's no peace and love there. And it will not be peace and love in New York land with that media and with that fan base, especially with the expectations for Aaron Rodgers. Oh, by the way, let me say this, because the other thing I always hear is, you just shut up, stop talking about Aaron Rodgers, he's gone. Nobody wants to hear you talk about him anymore. You know who says that? The Aaron Rodgers cult members, that's who. Because guess what? Packers training camp yesterday, 2 separate spots, not planned by me, 2 separate spots, and all I heard was people talking about Rodgers. The only ones who say, oh, stop talking about Rodgers, don't talk about him, nobody cares anymore, he's not here. That is absolutely false. Categorically false, even, if you will, to take a quote from Aaron Rodgers about not getting $50 million a year on his contract, and then, oh, he did. So, everyone is talking about Aaron Rodgers. Therefore, on this podcast, we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. On Twitter, on TikTok, we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. You know why? Because that's what listeners want to hear talked about. And he was here for 18 years. What he's doing now is still of great fascination. The only ones, again, you Aaron Rodgers cult members are the only ones who don't want to hear about it. You know why? You know why you guys don't want to hear about it? I'll tell you. Because the news about Rodgers paints him in a bad light. If you're a Packer fan. No, giving up the $35 million paints you in a good light for the Jets. But as a Packer, paints you in a bad light. It's a bad look to not hang around mini camps, OTAs, to be not working with young guys, to suck up as much money as you can, and then to go somewhere else and do the complete opposite and then talk about how you embrace it. That doesn't paint him in a good light in the state of Wisconsin or for Packer fans anywhere. At any rate, I got distracted where I was going. So it is valid to talk about him, is what I wanted to say. However, again, because of the way that the Jets are trading him and because of Aaron Rodgers' lack of integrity, lack of leadership, if things start going bad in New York, it's going to turn real bad real fast. The media, the fans, and maybe even some of his teammates. Because it's fine to put up with the whole Aaron Rodgers shtick when you're winning, though he's probably still not very pleasant to be around. But when you're losing, especially with a fan base and a team that has no prior loyalty to you, forget it. And the weight put on the Jets, the expectations are so high. I've never seen anything like it. That one player moves one team. I mean, you've seen LeBron James move from place to place. But when he goes to Miami, it wasn't expectations, not just through the roof, through the Milky Way galaxy, like it is for Rodgers. Everyone expects Super Bowl or bust, and they think that every single problem they've ever had in the New York Jets organizational history has been solved by getting Aaron Rodgers. Wait until he can't hit swing passes like last year if that happens again. Now, maybe he'll be resurgent. Maybe he'll look much better. But the man looked like trash last year. And he sure as hell didn't earn that paycheck. At any rate, we move on. More Packers news. I wanted to mention this. This from PackersNews.com. Pete Doherty Packers camp insider Zach Tom getting snaps with starting offense, this time at center. So yes, Zach Tom was getting reps with the first team offense yesterday at center. We've seen him competing for the right tackle spot. Matt LaFleur earlier, before camp started, wouldn't commit to any kind of a battle at the center spot, but Josh Myers has been struggling. I think the Packers have had 6 fumbled exchanges so far from center to quarterback in camp, and I think all 6 of them, if memory serves me correct, are all come from Josh Myers. So not good for him. Now, I started thinking today, everyone talks about how important it is for David Bakhtiari to be healthy. Obviously, that's the case. And he played lights out last year when he was in. And I think he played more than what people think. A lot of people are like, wow, he hardly played. Well, I forget the exact number. He played, it was either 11 or 13 games. I don't remember which one. But he played more than what a lot of people thought. And he was great. But I don't think Bakhtiari is the most important player on that Packer offensive line. I think it's Zach Tom, to be honest with you. Now, he may not be the most talented, but I think he's the most important. Here's why. You can plug him into any position on that O-line, and he can perform at a fairly high level for you. And you know damn well that there are going to be injuries to the offensive line. And this is not a unique situation to the Packers, but you know how it is. You get to a certain point in the season or at the end of the season for every team, and you look at it and you say, the Packers had 8 different combinations of starting offensive linemen. The Bengals had 3 different combinations of starting linemen. Very rare is it that the same 5 start every game. You get a lot of injuries to the offensive line. No doubt it's going to happen this year. And when it does, Zach Tom becomes your MVP because you can move him to any of those spots and he's going to produce at a high level for you. Very versatile, very good no matter where he plays. Something that has not been so good thus far from Packers training camp, and this from Green Bay Packers Daily. Packers kicker Anders Carlson now 12 for 20 on field goal attempts so far in training camp. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a 66% rate. Not good. But I have to say this. Rookie kicker Anders Carlson is kicking 60%. Patience. You know what? Right now, training camp, these practices, this is a time for the players to learn about football and learning the offense, the defense, the special teams. This training camp should be an exercise for Packer fans to start learning patience, because patience is what we are going to need throughout this year. Rookie kicker, Carlson, 60% right now. 12 for 20. Yep, he's going to be inconsistent. He's got a very talented leg. He's a rookie. Guess what? There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs with rookie wide receivers, with rookie tight ends. And yes, even with first-year starting quarterback, Jordan Love. So, if you're a Packer fan, you might as well start using this training camp to train yourself, to have some sort of patience. Now, clearly, if Carlson continues to not perform, he's not going to have a leash like Jordan Love or Jaden Reed or Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft. He's not going to have that kind of a leash. But just the overall idea, remember, you heard it here first, Wisconsin Family Podcast, you're going to have patience. But clearly, Carlson needs to do a better job here, because it has not been good. Not at all. Going to check here and see if there's some comments we can get to. Again, if you want to get a hold of us, you can certainly do that on Twitter, or X as they call it, at Wisconsin_fam. That's at Wisconsin_FAM. YouTube.com/@WisconsinFamily1, and then also TikTok, search Wisconsin_family. I wanted to mention this real quick on the Milwaukee Brewers. This from Adam McKelvey. believe he tweeted this out last night, said Craig Counsell said the Brewers are very encouraged by Brandon Woodruff's 72-pitch outing tonight for AAA Nashville. Counsell, we'll get him back to Milwaukee and get some eyes on him on Thursday and then see what's next. 72 pitches, that is coming a long way for his rehab. That is a good reason to be encouraged. And the Brewers need every able-bodied man right now to fend off the Reds. And possibly even the Cubs. So that's great news on the Brandon Woodruff front. So stay tuned for more on that. Oh, yeah, what I was going to mention. Willy Adames. Not Willy Adames. Luis Urias. Traded. Now, I figured the only thing that they could get back might be a bat weight. But they got more. Got a pitcher coming off Tommy John surgery. And I guess naturally, if you trade for the guy, you're going to be high on him. But Matt Arnold, Brewers GM, said that he slots in as one of the Brewers' top pitching prospects right away. So he's got a power curveball, fastball 93 to 95 miles an hour. So there you have that. Trade deadline complete. Brewers made a couple moves. Nothing earth-shattering. We'll see. Can they get hot? That is the question. All right, scrolling through Twitter and TikTok, see what kind of comments we have here. I had said on Twitter, what a trash road trip for the Brewers. Get swept by the Braves? Fine, makes sense. Brewers lose 2 out of 3 to the lowly Nationals? That's garbage. Kobe says, Monasterio wasn't getting a double play. Take your time, make a good throw home. Santana with a bad error. Yeah, some bad defense for the Brewers, who are usually pretty sure-handed on defense here. Oh, I wanted to mention this as well. I was sitting there thinking about this today. Jair Alexander is the best player that the Packers have on the roster. He's one of the best players in the NFL. NFL Top 100 keeps coming out. I think he was number 36. But he's one of the best players in the NFL. I got excited just thinking about this because I thought, in a few years from now, and I'm just looking, I'm not including Jordan Love on this, not because I don't think he's capable, but I'm just looking at pure freak athleticism. The Packers could potentially, in the next couple of years, from this roster that they have right now, have 4 players who may be some of the most elite of the elite in the NFL. You already have Alexander. But then talent-wise, you might be able to add Christian Watson, Lucas Van Ness, Luke Musgrave as well. So that's exciting if you're looking at that as a Packer fan. Ethan says Quay Walker, Elton Jenkins, Aaron Jones, and Jordan Love all still have potential to be Pro Bowlers. And let's see what Nixon can do with a full season returning. Eric says Rashawn Gary too. Yeah, Quay Walker, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got that freakish athletic ability. I don't know if he has it to the extent that, like, Musgrave and Van Ness have. And Watson probably has more pure athletic ability than any of them. Something to be excited about, at any rate. Let us continue scrolling here. Again, you can follow along Twitter at Wisconsin_fam. That's at Wisconsin_FAM. That's taking our comments from right here. Yeah. Brewers news today. They activated Wade Miley, and he got the start. And with that, they sent Wisconsin native of Fredonia, Wisconsin, Owen Miller, back down to AAA, which I was sad to see. Not just because he's from Wisconsin, it doesn't really matter to me. I thought that, and hopefully we'll see him back for September call-ups, I'm sure we will, but I thought that Miller was the purest, not the most talented, don't misunderstand, but the purest ball player on the team. Somebody, he reminds me a lot of Craig Counsell, fundamentally sound, just good baseball player. Like, textbook baseball player. If you look up baseball player in the dictionary, it should be a picture of him. Hep says, about Zach Tom having a lot of versatility. Says, not if Tom is starting at center. He's one of the top 5. You have to get him on the field, right? And please don't trade Yash. I don't think Yash is going to go anywhere. And I would imagine that Tom is one of the best 5 offensive linemen. And I would bet that he's going to be your starting right tackle. My point is that if anyone gets hurt, he can be shifted around, whether he's starting or not, which I assume he would be. Bradley Blaylock is the player that the Brewers acquired for Luis Urias in the trade. Jack, on my patience speech, Jack says, this is one of the most reasonable takes I have ever seen you have. And I enjoy you. Well, thank you for enjoying me. Glad I can be there to help. Says, now this will give me go. Any thoughts on Joe Barry? Yes, here's my thoughts on Joe Barry in a quick nutshell. Here you go. Ready for it? Joe Barry isn't improving. He's not changing at this point. He's had a very large sample size as a defensive coordinator with the Packers and others. He's never been good. So let me give you this comparison. I said this like a week ago. Christian Yelich had a great 2018-2019. And then he went down the tubes. And you always said, I wonder if he can return to form. And guess what? He's doing that. You knew he had it in him because he did it. You knew he had the skill, talent, and ability to be that guy from 2018-2019. He could return to form. Joe Barry has no form to return to because he's never been good. So what makes people think he's suddenly going to snap his fingers, wake up this year, and all of a sudden it's going to be different? It's lunacy. In other words, Joe Barry has never been good. He is not good. He is not going to be good. And that's my bold prediction on that. Yes, but I appreciate that. It's one of the most reasonable takes I've ever had. Thank you. That's a pretty nice compliment. All right. That was it. That was the only things I wanted to get to there from Twitter. Let us expand here and check out some comments from TikTok. See what we have here. Daniel, this was from earlier today, said Brewers need the win today. Lots of new guys from the trade deadline. Hope they do well. Well, so far they have not. But the jury is still out on that. Jake says with Brandon Woodruff on the cusp, it seems, of returning, he says, that's great. We need more starting pitching. Oh, you can never have too much. Yes. Comments on Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Got a comment here that says, I'm not alone in not liking him, but definitely a minority. I don't know that I am. Maybe we'll do a Twitter poll and then discuss it tomorrow. Josh says, you know this is wrong, me and my attitude towards Rodgers, and that people don't like him. Josh says, you know this is wrong. You just telling that to yourself to feel better about him leaving. Nope. That's not the case. Explain to me then why I can go sit in 2 separate places and hear 2 totally different conversations, both anti-Rodgers. And you know what? I had a friend that I used to work with who's a Viking fan. Went to a Packer game for the first time, Packers-Vikings, and you know what? He came back out of that, and his takeaway was he could not believe how many Packer fans did not like Aaron Rodgers. It's true. And this is before the Jordan Love stuff. Mike McCarthy was still coach. This is like 8 years ago. 9 years ago. I'm not telling that to myself. Hey, I did not shed a tear the day they traded him. I was counting down the days. I'm excited to move forward with Jordan Love. I don't know how he's going to be. Aaron says, I personally love him and miss him already and wish him the best of luck in New York. Well, certainly entitled to that opinion. Again, I don't know if you're in the majority or not. We should take a Twitter poll and check on that. All right, that's going to wrap things up here today for our Wisconsin Family Podcast. If you want to get a hold of us, at Wisconsin_fam on TikTok, at Wisconsin_FAM. Oh no, did I say TikTok? I meant Twitter. Let me start over. Twitter, or X, as Elon Musk has named it, at Wisconsin_fam. TikTok, search Wisconsin_family, and then of course on YouTube, youtube.com/Wisconsin at Wisconsin Family 1. Go on there, like it, subscribe, please. No charge, obviously. I'm not going to charge you for such wonderful content. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow on a Thursday.